I've painted this little shed behind me with an airless, simply because it's so much faster than brushing and rolling. Now, because of the siding on this, I wouldn't have rolled anyway, but if you're going to attack something like this with a brush, you can get it done. Myself, I'm pretty fast with a brush. I probably brush that within half a day, one coat, give or take an hour, and the same for the second coat. Having it already prepped and ready for painting, for spraying in particular, I went around this in less than 15 minutes twice. And that's the reason why you spray paint, is because you save so much time. But here's some before and afters. Three things before we get stuck into it. One, I've divided the prep separate from the actual spraying, simply because a lot of people don't want to see the prep. If you want to see the prep that I did on this little shack, it's just go right here. That'll show you how it was pretty easy, pretty simple. I probably did this whole entire thing in about 6 hours. And that includes the masking and everything. For those of you that don't want to see all that boring prep stuff, well, this is why I've divided it in two. We're about to get stuck into spraying this. Two things I want you to bear in mind. One is when you're actually mixing your paint, the guys at the paint store will probably give you all kinds of information on how to operate the machine and how to mix the paint. If you get what's called fingers, we call it fingers from the spray coming out of the tip. If you see what looks like fingers, it's concentrated lines of paint, and it's two things that can cause that. And in general, most of the times, it's because your paint is too thick. Now you can crank up the pressure on the machine, and it can get away with that. But if it's still too thick, you're still going to get those fingers. If you have those fingers still, then all you have to do is thin your paint out a little bit. Not too much, a little bit. If you have to do it twice or 3 times, do it that way, better than to make it too thin. Okay, that should get rid of the fingers. If it doesn't happen, it's because your tip is probably worn out. But 9 times out of 10, the paint is too thick. The other thing is watch out when I'm spraying how I overlap. The overlap is fairly important. I see a lot of people that don't know how to spray. They'll go down once, instead of overlapping, they go over too far. Okay, once you get that overlap down right, you get in a groove, you get in that zone, and away you go. So just watch how I do that. After about one wall, you guys are going to know how to spray paint. So come on, let's get stuck in. If you've never ever sprayed before, you're going to find this a little bit difficult. Just remember one thing: you can do an enormous amount of damage extraordinarily quickly. No matter what you're spraying, you're going to get overspray. This is atomized so fine that the overspray, it floats off into the atmosphere. On a warm day like today, probably by the time it gets 10 feet away, those little atomized droplets will be dry. But if it's a winter's day, or if you're doing it in where there's fog, it could collect those little fog droplets, I guess, and it can go for hundreds of yards. So if there's your neighbor's cars around, and I've seen this 100 times, cars get this fine spray over them. So just think about where your spray is going. Now, I have absolutely nothing to worry about. I'm out in the middle of nowhere. This is why I'm showing you guys. If you got something like this, it's perfect for a beginner to start spraying. You can't do a whole lot of damage. And even if you did, on something like this, a little shed, who cares? Okay, this is why it's ideal. I guess one of the other things is a lot of people, when they start spraying, they pull the trigger, and then all of a sudden they've got this great big spot of paint, and it starts dribbling down. So have a brush ready, I guess. But when you pull that trigger, you have to be moving. No matter what, you have to be moving. So let me just show you on this little spot here. Normally I'd go up and down all the way up and down. But I'm just going to do a little spot right here. And you also want to overlap. And there again, it comes with experience. You want to overlap. So here we go. We're going to start here. Notice how I'm overlapping. It's so easy, isn't it? I shouldn't be facetious like that, but it really is easy. And I'd say by the time you do a wall like this, you'll have a pretty good idea of what to do. So, my cameraman there, say hi, Ray.
Hi, Ray.
Ray is going to follow me around. and we're just going to spray this whole wall, to go around this whole shack. We're going to do it twice, but to go around this whole shack, if I wasn't filming, would take me probably 10 minutes. And this is why you spray. Also, the other thing which I forgot to tell you, everything is, spend the time on the prep. The prep is probably the most important. Even though this is just a cruddy shed, the prep, my paint job is going to last me 10 years. It's fair dinkum, it'll last me 10 years. Probably the two good sides will last me 15 years, maybe even 20 years. Okay, but I washed this all down. As you see, I did all the prep. Also, which I forgot to tell you, I've got down below here on the bottom, I've got plywood, villa board, a for sale sign, and that's to stop. So when I come down to the bottom, it creates an eddy. So if I didn't have these things down, it would pick up the dirt that's close to the edge of the shed, and it would actually throw it up on here. So if you do find that, stop spraying, cover your ground, okay? Don't just keep going. But where the dirt has come up, leave it till it's dry, give it a light sand, and then spray it again. So here we go, watch this. Here we go, I'm gonna spray this, and a lot of times it's just, you learn by just watching. I know, I should be wearing a mask. Looking good, Ray?
Looking good.
I also just want to point out real quickly here, I've got these ridges in this steel, and I don't know if you've noticed or not, when I'm going on the one side, I'm slightly pointing my fan in that direction, and when I come to the other side, it's pointing more in that direction. Watch that. Overlap. Now also I want to point out here is that my fan goes this way, and some guys will spray with the fan going this way, and I don't like that for the simple fact that places like this you have to kind of go with the grain sort of thing, so you're going to go up and down. So with the hose coming out of the bottom, as you're coming down, it's going to get a little bit more difficult. To me, I mean, you can do it either way, but to me, you got more control this way. Okay, also, look, how long did that take? How long did that take, Ray? Not even 2 minutes?
Not even 2 minutes.
Not even 2 minutes. So that's one reason why you spray.
Go.
Also take note here, guys, when I'm coming from top to bottom, when I'm going up to the top, I'm keeping that, whatever distance I am way here at the middle, it's the same at the top. I'm not this way. This is how a lot of beginners, painters do it. They start at the bottom here, a long ways away, they get really close, and then they just go a long ways away, and that's not how you spray. Keep that distance. Clog. Keep the distance exactly the same, top to bottom. Some of you might be thinking, Well, he doesn't let the trigger go, but I've done it for so long I don't have to. But sometimes you'll start pulling the trigger, go to the bottom, undo it, move. So watch that. The door is going to go the same color. That side's done. One more minute. Let's go do the other side, Ray. I forgot some cobwebs, so I'm just going to leave that. I'll touch that up with a brush. Not worry about the trim. That's going to be a trim color. Okay, now I've tackled this from the point of basically just how we spray. I wasn't going to cover, or assume that you guys are going to, wherever you rent your machine, they're going to tell you how to, do the pressure and what tip to use and how to clean it up properly. Okay, this was just simply how to spray. So wherever you do rent your machine, make sure that they go through it, especially if you've never painted before with a sprayer. Make sure that they walk you through how to use it, how to clean it up, and the consistency of the paint, thickness. And so I'm Rick Bushell. This is Invincible Painting Basics. If you like what you saw, please subscribe just below. Until next time, happy painting, guys.